the Radio Forest Podcast.
Hey, Forrest, this is Dan Durkin from Petty Theft calling you.
What's going on, brother? How are you?
I'm great. Calling in to talk to you guys and promote the show for Petty Theft.
You ready? This Saturday, Garden City Revolution Concert House. You guys have been through Boise quite a bit, almost every year, I want to say, right? You guys come through here quite often.
I think it's probably going to be our fourth show, I presume. I'm thinking there was a little time with COVID and all that we were delayed a little bit for a couple of years. So we've kind of, but we do play, I think, Saint Chapelle over there. I'm sorry, that was Idaho.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think it's like the fourth show we've done coming up here.
And I don't really want to get into COVID, but since you're a professional musician, what did you do when you couldn't tour?
Well, for me, being that I'm the lead singer and all, I was able to pivot and do solo shows. So, and not petty shows per se, but you do these 6 to 8 dinner things, and there was plenty of those around. And 2 hours of music, I would do Bowie and Lennon and all the stuff I love to do. Besides Tom Petty, Eagles and all that. So I was able to actually pivot pretty well during that, and I ended up doing about 14 shows a month, at these small places. But it was great, and because of the times, people were more apt and really grateful that you were there for entertainment because there's nothing else going on. So it was a good experience for me.
Yeah, I saw you working on a little bit of Billy Joel music and singing along. And so how did you build a set list for the solo shows? Do you just go with, like, these are the songs I love, but you've been doing it long enough, you got to know, all right, crowd favorites, I got to get, this always kills, this is always good, people love this Petty song. So how do you...
That's exactly it.
Does it stay the same, or do you just kind of go, I'm tired of playing John Lennon, let's get in something else?
No, I mean, I kind of, I just learn songs that I love, like you just said, and go from there. And then I just keep adding them as I go because, you don't want to be playing the same stuff over and over for people that come and visit. So, there's plenty of music out there to do. So yeah. I've always had my hands full of stuff. And because I'm a keyboard player as well, I'm able to kind of, play piano and guitar. So some guitar songs, James Taylor type stuff and all that. And then I can go do Elton John or Billy Joel stuff, and so it worked out really well. And I still do it. It was an added surplus to my, my career. So it's been a great silver lining with COVID. But we did lose a couple of years with playing at Revolution. But we're so glad to be back this Saturday.
Yeah, I want to talk some more about the Petty shows.
Yeah.
But I always want to talk to musicians about what shows they've seen. I'm such a fan of music. I try to see as many shows as I can. Obviously, the bigger the artist, the more impactful sometimes, just because you realize, oh, that's why they're that famous, they're that good. So who are some of the ones that stand out in your mind, or maybe some shows you've seen recently? And, of course, you got to tell me about seeing Tom Petty live.
Of course. So you mean tribute bands?
No, like real bands, or
real bands.
Yeah, I was thinking about more of like, have you seen Lennon? Did you see McCartney? Have you seen ELO or anybody like that?
I wish I'd seen Lennon. That would be quite a thing. I was a little too young on that end of it. Though, I mean, yeah, in 1980, I was 20. He didn't tour around. McCartney, I've seen about 5 times.
Wow.
Yeah, through a 30-year span. Elvis Costello. James Taylor, of course, when he used to play at the Greek Theater in Berkeley on Sunday afternoons. That was such a treat for me. Everybody, pretty much, Sammy Hagar, Fleetwood Mac. Oh God, the Day on the Greens that Bill Graham would do over here to Oakland Coliseum back in the late '70s. So I'd see the Eagles and I'd see Fleetwood Mac and Gary Wright and all that stuff. So it was quite the time for me.
What about seeing Tom Petty? When did you first see him, and when did you last see him, or a show that sticks out to you?
It's funny. I didn't see him in my early years, but I did get to go the first time in 2006 when he played the Greek Theater in Berkeley, and Petty Theft had just started playing, and our bass player Django Bayless had an in with backstage because he works for Live Nation. So we got to go backstage. and Stevie Nicks was on that tour. So we got back there, and Steve Ferrone comes out and just sees us standing there and comes and talks to us, which was amazing. And then right behind him is the bass player. So it just was quite we didn't really mention that we were in a tribute band at that time. So, but that was the first time I saw that band live, and I saw it from the wings, and it was amazing. So I was just so inspired. And the funny thing is that we end up playing with Steve Ferrone 10 years later. He's sitting in with us for 3 shows, and that was quite an experience to play with a Heartbreaker.
Any other chance of running into anybody from the Heartbreakers?
That I think that the other guys have. I think he played at Mill Valley Sweetwater. I think that Monroe, and I think that Adam, the drummer, went to the show, and maybe Django too, and got to see. I just faced his name. I don't know why. I'm tired. The guitar player,
Mike Campbell.
Who has a book out, which I recommend everybody.
Nice.
If I could just remember his name. So they saw Mike Campbell at the Sweetwater.
Very cool.
Saw him after the show, and I think, but Steve Ferrone was the most exciting thing, and to be able to talk to him, and especially post Tom, a year after his passing, he played 7 songs with us at the Cornerstone in Berkeley, and talking to him then, he was a little sad still, but it was just quite an amazing experience.
How do you jam with them then? Because it would be like, hey, you guys are playing this wrong, and you can't argue, and you're like, oh, hey,
funny,
this is how we play the song.
Right. He in his accent he goes, now you're not the Heartbreakers, but you're really good, and, which is But he always says you're not the Heartbreakers, and we say we know that, sir. The moment I look back and we're playing "Won't Back Down," and I'm seeing him just killing it. And it's like a locomotive with him because he's so powerful. There's just nothing like that. And to look back and go, oh, my God, there he is. I'm here now. It's like Christmas Day for us. It really was. And he did it 3 times. So it was, quite the thing. And just the nicest person you'd ever want to meet. And what a badass, I tell you. Yeah.
So at that point, you are at least letting them know that you're obviously in a Petty cover band, or a tribute act. Do you think?
Well, he knew, yeah.
Yeah, obviously he's on stage with you, so he knows. But I'm saying then, so prior to that, do you think Tom or Mike Campbell then were aware of you guys in some aspect? I think eventually with the name and touring, they would be.
No, they are. And Benmont, and they know who we are. And I think that, the thing that we have to do is just promote what they do. And promote them while we promote our shows, because it really is a tribute to that music and Tom Petty. So, and we don't, we're not in costumes. We're not, we even take liberties on our own style of music within that frame of music. So you get a little bit more, I think, of not exactly like Tom Petty, like all the tribute bands out there. So I think that's why we've been going strong for 20 years,
Now, I talked to Monroe last time you guys were here, and I can't remember the answer, but do you at all try to copy some of the equipment? When I think of Tom Petty, I think of the Rickenbauer. I also think of the Flying V. Now, obviously, you're on keyboards and singing, so maybe it's a little bit different for you. But does the band ever go like, you know what, we got to get this cabinet because it's just so much Petty to me?
There's a bit of that. I don't think I think 12-string wise, there was a Rickenbacker at one point. I think everybody kind of plays the axe that feels good for them. That's more important, and not the look. Also, just to be clear, I don't play keyboards in Petty Theft. I used to, though, in the very, very beginning when we were a 5-piece, and I did both things. But now it's a dedicated thing for the last 15 years. But, as far as the guitars, brands and all, I think it's important, I guess, if you're into the look of the whole thing. But it's not, not how we kind of go with it. We kind of do our own thing, and the tones are there, and we, so, I don't think it really makes a big difference to have that Rickenbacker brand. There might be a knockoff or something that Monroe had at one point. He plays it very seldom, not as much as we used to have it played. I think on Handle with Care or something, and a few of those. But it's just not our thing. It's not that important.
What about building a Petty Theft set list then? because you only get so much time. You're playing his entire catalog, so you're obviously going to cherry pick like a best of album. But how do you decide? Have you learned throughout the years of like, oh, this is the show closer, or is it more of a personal like, I think we should play this one last? Because he's got so many hits. Almost any Petty song on a radio could be the final song.
You're right. And the thing that we do, and what they even talk about it, is they call it the 16, right? And the 16 are the ones that they cannot get away with not playing. Like Free Fallin', right? I Won't Back Down,
Mary Jane,
American Girl, Refugee. So all those songs have to be there. And through our experience of doing the shows, we've learned to kind of put stuff where we know it works. Like, per se, we start out with Learning to Fly, because it's just a great way to start the show out. Mm-hmm. He's done, he's changed his opening on every tour pretty much. But and we do move stuff around a little bit, but there's stuff that really, really works that we just kind of stay with, So we'll always have American Girl at the end. But we'll finish it after American Girl. We'll do Refugee, because you end on Refugee, and it's just the energy is so great, and it's a great way to end the show, right? Yeah. And I don't see that coming. After we have like a spot in American Girl, and and it's done, and then all of a sudden, we don't say anything. It goes right into Refugee, and that riff, as we all know, just opens up the whole thing. Everybody knows it, and they all go nuts. So we keep it the same for that reason.
Now, what about any of the more electronic sounds that Tom Petty got into once in a while? I'm thinking Don't Come Around Here No More. Do you try to emulate that as close as possible? Or again, you said, we kind of do our own thing, or do you just do it in the Petty Theft style? Or you're like, we got to get more of an electronic beat behind this?
No, it's kind of both, but electronically, the 80s thing doesn't really work for us. So, but you can have the drummer play that feel and get that without any problem, and nobody's wiser, and cares really. So we don't really try to do that, though. There's a new one that we're working on that, again, it wasn't a big hit, but we're working on the song, and it is an 80s feel, but we're trying to kind of, go back and forth with how to present that, right? Mm-hmm. But we don't want, we don't want the drum sound feel. You don't have to do that, right? You can just kind of be. So the answer to your question, it is more like us, but we still have to keep the essence of Petty's energy and the arrangements within that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm trying to think back to like when I saw Tom Petty, because when you were saying that, I was like, yeah, he didn't really like change his motif once it kicked off. It's like, oh, hey, this is the band and this is what we do. And I was like, I don't remember thinking like, oh, this is the electronic era of Tom Petty. It just was like Tom Petty. Yeah.
Here's our thing. It's like 60% is arrangement from the record. Maybe 25% is the live feel that we get from the songs, right? So we take the recorded version and we listen to the live version, and we kind of combine the two. And the other 10% or 20% of that is our own vibe musically of each player. And the chemistry of this band is the thing that I just love. And when you have that chemistry with players, you know it, first of all, at the get-go. And when you have that, it's so special. And I think really that's the part of our success of hanging around so long and still selling out shows. And, we're really, really fortunate and lucky. And like I said, and like you talked about, we are kind of blessed by Tom's organization in a lot of ways. Like, they follow us, the daughters follow us on Facebook. And so, we're pretty lucky, man. And we love doing what we do. And we can't wait to see you all on Saturday.
This weekend. One more thing. Have you had anybody else hop up on stage or request to jam with you guys or kind of guest spot them?
Nobody as far as, Monroe Grisman, his father, David Grisman, the famous, mandolin player, has sat in with us a couple times. And that's been really fun to play with the dog. And, especially it's Monroe's dad, so it's a special thing.
Yeah.
We do have girls come up, girl singers in the Bay Area, not famously people, but in the Bay Area, well-known singers that we do, the Stevie Nicks song together. So, we do that. So that's probably the other guests we have. I don't think otherwise it's kind of our thing, It's kind of a closed session. if you will.
We're excited to have you back. We've been giving away a ton of tickets, and we're going to see you Saturday night at the Revolution Concert House here in Garden City. So it's Dan with Petty Theft. It's been awesome to talk to you today, man, and I can't wait to see you guys this weekend.
You too, Forrest. Definitely say hello, and I can't wait. We're going to Utah Friday night, and then we're going to be flying out that morning, and we can't wait to get there. So we'll see you all then.
Oh, last question, because I see that you guys do bus and you do fly often. Preference, flying or busing around the U.S.? If you had to pick one, what would you go with? They both got to be hard. Flying?
Flying. So these days, I'm a little nervous about that, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I don't love airplanes. I don't think, I'm okay. I'm not at the point where I would freak out or have to take something, but I'm not in love with it anymore, and especially with all the stuff going on. But flying is the easiest thing to do for us, and we'll be flying. Like I said, we're flying to Utah first, and then we go from there to Idaho. So,
do you think that's an age thing? I ask you because I'm going through the same thing myself. I never used to care or even think about it. Now, the older I get, it touched when you said I don't have to take anything, and I'm okay. I feel the same. I'm like, I'm okay with this as long as it's not too much turbulence and I can kind of zone out and read a book or something. It never used to be that way. I think it's my age. I think because now I'm like, I don't think I could get on a roller coaster anymore. A, I think I get dizzy. And B, it's like almost scarier than it was when I was 20.
Interesting. It's funny. Roller coasters for me, I love those. And I was always a little tentative with flying anyway, but I love looking out. I love having the window seat. So it doesn't bother me like that. But turbulence, when it starts getting heavy, I don't love it. And I'll look at the guys when we're in that, and I'm looking like, what the F, And they're fine. Like most of those guys fly even way more than I do for their other business things that they do. So they're so used to it. But I'm a little scaredy cat with that.
Yeah, I always look at this. I always look at the stewardesses. They're never freaked out, and I'm like, they do this every day, several times a day. And they're fine. I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're fine, then that is the indication. When you see nervousness on their face, then you're definitely in trouble.
Well, I'll see you in a couple of days. I'll come down and say hello. Dan, you guys live this weekend with Petty Theft at the Revolution Concert House. See you soon, buddy.
Can't
wait.
Forrest. All right, can't wait. Can't wait to see you all, people.